The what in it?
Pampas grass.
If you go past anybody's house and they've got them in their front garden, big pampas grass, swingers.
Really?
Yeah, it's the Eden Coast, like upside down pineapples on a cruise ship.
Is it only specific to a cruise ship then, upside down? For
I
swingers?
don't know. It started on cruises, but it could be everywhere now.
How do you know so much about this?
Yes,
I have no. I'm a well-travelled, well-educated young lady.
Okay, guys, hello.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back. As you can see, if you are watching us, we have the wonderful Sue. Yay, Sue!
Everyone say hello to Sue.
Hi, Sue.
This is our
Hello.
second guest.
Sue! I always think that. Have you not seen it? How are you, Paige?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Sue?
I'm good, thank you.
Are you hot? I'm
yeah,
hot
it's
today.
very hot in here.
If you this is out next week.
Yeah, this is out on the 29th of June.
As you will well know, guys, it's like 29 degrees today.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
And we are
hot.
sweating.
But to be fair, this studio is always boiling,
It's always warm.
which is why I look so shiny.
You're more of a 21 degree kind of girl.
I just like it. I love a cold bedroom.
You have a cold bedroom, don't you?
I have a cold bedroom because I'm married to an air conditioning man.
Are you?
Win.
So we had our aircon on all night.
Win.
I've never been jealous of a straight woman. but I am now.
You could find a fit, mind you, you're engaged, aren't you? So you
Yeah.
could find a female air conditioning engineer.
Yeah, no, she's a.
I think I know a bit about aircon.
Oh, please. I know, she flirts me all the time. It's disgusting.
Go back and watch episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and you'll know that's not true.
I'm literally getting hotter by the second.
You
but
suffering there.
it's really hot in
The
here.
heat on all the Americans that follow us now are going to come for us, but the heat here is so different to the heat abroad because we're not built for it.
No, we're not. You've got an air-conned bedroom.
Like that one up there.
Oh, like when you go to a hotel abroad. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
it's just there at the
dream.
side,
That
at the
is
side of
dream.
where I sleep. It's just there. It was a bit cold in the night, to be honest.
Oh,
So I had to-
piss off.
I know. What knows?
I had to snuggle under the covers a bit.
What an ick.
Christ. Well, no one knows who you are.
Oh, yeah, we haven't said.
No one knows like why you're here or how we know you.
Been
whichever.
hijacked.
Yeah,
this
you have
morning.
been hijacked. Yeah.
I picked from I was like, get in,
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah.
Go shopping.
So the intro on our board it says, "Who is Sue?"
That was
Well,
Who
Sue.
is Sue? Sue, who are you?
Who am I? Yeah, so born and bred in Netherton, so I'm a black country girl, and
God.
I've been married for 32 years in September.
Oh God, I was born 32 years ago. I just wanted to drop
Oh,
that.
that's just great, isn't it? That just makes me feel really old. So you were being born just before I got married.
Yeah.
That's just great. And and I've got a son, and was George's first husband at school, as we've said earlier. Yeah, and he's now 27. Well, the same age as you. He's now 27.
Yeah, all those years
And he
ago.
lives in Bristol. Yeah,
Love Bristol. So how long have you known G for?
since you were about 3, 4.
What a
something like
royal
that.
shame.
Did you have any inkling she was a raging homo?
No, especially if she married my son.
No idea whatsoever.
No.
Did G's mum never go, I think G might be a lesbian?
No.
She never said it?
No.
She was probably thinking if I put it out to the universe, it might come true.
No.
Lesbian.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No, I don't think there was. No, and I don't know, because you were just more into your singing and stuff, weren't you? You weren't really into like relationships that I know to anyway.
No.
It was just all more about wanting to get off to your bower and
Yeah.
doing all that stuff. So
Birmingham Orchestra Academy.
Birmingham Ormiston Academy.
Orchestra.
Orchestra's cool though.
Yeah, I'll
That
never
could be
get that.
better.
makes more sense actually.
Yeah.
It
I
does
know.
actually.
Thank you.
So today's episode is going to be all about therapy.
Oh yes, I did forget to say who is Sue. I did forget to say that obviously I am a counsellor.
Yeah. So
What did I say? Because I said, are you excited? Like before the cameras rolling. What did you say now?
you was like, I'm not feeling anything.
I'm not feeling anything.
I am
I'm
numb.
not
You
feeling
excited?
anything.
I'm not feeling anything, no. And I was like, I really like you straight away.
So today's episode, guys, is going to be all about exploring therapy. What is therapy? How does it work? And the ins and outs. And we've got Sue here, who is a qualified counsellor, to kind of give us her input and her take on how she does therapy and how it works for her. And hopefully we can give you guys some advice and help and even just understand a little bit more about therapy in general here in the UK, I suppose. I don't know if this is going to necessarily be applicable to people outside of the UK. Are there different laws on that? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's interesting what you just said, because I just want to like reiterate that everything I say is just, it's me, it's my way of doing things. So I'm, you know, just speaking on behalf of me and not the counselling profession as a whole, because we all do it differently.
Yeah.
Every counsellor is very different, and we've all got very different ideas and different ways that we approach it.
So how did you, let's go from the start.
Yeah. How did you get into it? Yeah.
Yeah, how did you get into it? What made you, first question, what made you want to be, is it counsellor, therapist? What's the best word to say?
Either, interchangeable. Interchange them, it's fine.
What made you want to do this? Like,
Okay, so I didn't.
You didn't?
No. 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 So I decided before I became a mum that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mum. That was important for me. I didn't want to have children if I couldn't do that. So we did it so that I could. So I was at home, and then with George while he was little, and then when he got to the stage he was going to school, I then started, you know, sort of spreading my wings a little bit. And I started, at the time, I can't remember who was in government then, but they were doing the free courses. Like you could go to your local neighbourhood learning centres and do courses. And I did a few, like aromatherapy, reflexology, things like that. And then there was this intro to counselling skills. And I thought, yeah, why not? I'll have a go at that. Did the first one and loved it. You know, like a 12-week course, 2.5 hours a week. Really liked it. And that was from the September till Christmas. And then from January till whatever, it was the level 2. So I did that, and then decided to go on the level 3, which was subsidised, but I had to pay a bit for that in the September, and did that. And that was a year, like an academic year. Really enjoyed it, because that was all about the theory. That was all about like what we are. Like the other 2 were more about the skills you use, you know, the active listening, paraphrasing, summarising, all them kind of things. But level 3 was great. So then I hit a point where I wanted to continue and do level 4 and level 5, but George was still very young. He was only 9. It just seemed a bit, going to uni and all that, when he was that age, I didn't feel it was what I wanted to do. So I just parked it. And I didn't go back till 2015. I went back and did it. Yeah, just decided I wanted to do it. So that was it. Yeah,
So
and
you've been doing
that's
it for about 10 years now.
Yeah,
then?
so I was qualified in 2017, so I've been qualified for 8 years,
Yeah.
just shy of 8 years. So what I specialise in, really, I suppose my main thing would be anxiety.
Okay.
That's where I feel like that's my strongest area. But at the same time, anything that people bring to me, unless I feel that they come and, you know, if somebody came and gave me some real thing and I thought, whoa, I am not qualified to do that. Because, of course, other therapists as well can be specialised in, like, really bad trauma, PTSD. I don't touch that kind of stuff because I haven't done the qualifications for it. I would probably help. So if somebody got PTSD and they didn't know when they came to see me, I would probably be able to help them and make a difference to them, but I wouldn't be able to really see them offering to do that, because I don't feel that I've got enough knowledge on things, you know, more severe.
So would you, I guess, pass it on to someone that you know of, or recommend someone?
So I suppose for me, when anybody contacts me for therapy, the very first thing that I do is generally by email, or they might leave me a voicemail. So sorry guys, if ever you phone me, I never answer. I always let it go to voicemail, because you just never know, do you? So
No, you never know what they want.
Relatable.
So, and like, if they leave a voicemail, great. If they don't, I'm left there thinking, oh, was that a
who
counselling
was it?
inquiry?
Yeah.
But so I always get back to them and say the very first thing really is that we have a telephone conversation. So I offer that to anybody, and then we have a chat, and that's to give them the opportunity really to get to know me, get to chat to me, see if they like the sound of me and what I do, how I do it, and all the rest of it. I explain to them the way in which I work, and then basically I just like, do we think we're a good fit? So the way I do therapy is I'm not the person who sits there like, I know everything and you're just here, like, you know, we're together, we work as a team. I have to like you, you have to like me, we have to feel we can work together to get the results that we want.
Yeah.
That's crucial. So you've got to
100%
have the
agree with you.
relationship right.
I love that.
You know, I'm a great believer in you go where you're meant to go. So I think that people don't come to me just by chance, that, you know, that they've seen me, they might have heard my little bit of a video that I put out there on where I advertise, that they've been drawn to me for a reason. And I think they're going to pick up the phone to me for a reason. I often say it's like going to have a coffee with your mates, but they don't talk about themselves or say, oh yeah, that happened to me Auntie Pamela and she did this and she did that, and then all of a sudden they're not listening to you anymore, they're talking about their Auntie Pamela.
Yeah.
Whereas in therapy, you don't, you know, you might be thinking, oh yeah, I'll relate to that and I know about that, but you then don't tell them that.
Yeah.
You still keep it with them.
Right.
But it's just, I like it to be a nice, comfortable area where people come. My room's done, it's very homely with a sofa with throws and cushions and home furniture, sideboards and tables, and just very,
Like
just
I-
very
like I
chill.
I was going to say something really inappropriate.
Go
then.
on.
No,
No, say it. Go
no,
on.
no.
Don't be scared.
We're professional.
No, this is strictly PG. Say it.
I was going to say condoms on the side.
If you needed me to provide condoms for you, I would do that. No, that's joking. But no.
I personally don't know.
Flavour
no.
would you like?
Yeah.
Isn't there a show about that on Netflix? And the therapist ends up getting obsessed. What, you know what I'm talking about?
I know, is it the lady therapist and she ends up going out and meets a girl in a club?
Yes, have you
and-
seen
yes,
it?
I
And
have,
she
but I
ends up,
can't
like,
think what it's
sleeping with her.
called.
Isn't it her client's partner? And she's having like giving him therapy? Giving him therapy.
Yeah.
That is really good.
Yeah, no, I
it
wanna
is,
watch
but
that.
it doesn't really paint therapy in a very good picture.
No,
at all.
no.
Yeah.
You know, The Sopranos paints a better picture of therapy than that one does. But, yeah.
Do you ever do like friends and family?
No.
But you say no to them straight away.
Yeah.
couldn't do me?
No.
I was going to say it would be not weird, but
You just can't, because, like, say if Georgia was to say, "Oh, Sue, could I come to you for therapy?" I'd say no. I mean, I'd say like I can help you. I'll give you some strategies and some techniques or tools to put in your box. I was waiting for some
I was
smutty remark when I said that. Then,
it was in my head.
well, I'm worried that it came into mine.
I have the best
Messy
episode
remark.
already.
I know.
So I'd say that, but I'd say, but I can't give you therapy because I know too much about you.
Yeah.
So I know
Yeah.
the family, and I've known Georgia far too long, really.
God,
So
what-
I'd want to help. So I'd offer whatever I could help, but not in a counselling profession.
What would you say if she was like dead serious, like sat across the coffee table from you and she goes, "So I've got a really big problem. I need to speak to you about it. I'm in love with my podcast host." What would you say? What would you say to her?
What would you say to us?
Okay, well, I'd want to investigate that with her. I'd explore it more and see
Oh.
is the other feelings genuine? Is it a bit of an infatuation? When did
So
you
you're not
start
helping
to,
the narrative here.
When did you start to feel this way?
Carry on, this is a
how
great
long
social
has,
clip, quick.
how long has this been happening for you?
3 months. I think it's been happening
know.
for you.
Right,
hasn't it?
pack it in. Let's stop. PSA, I am not in. I love you, but I'm not in love with you.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
What a classic line.
So no, you can't see friends, you can't see family,
No,
and you
fair.
can't see. So, like if somebody was coming to me for therapy and they said, "Oh, my mum wants therapy, can she come to see you?" Well, no, unfortunately not, and it is frustrating for me as well sometimes. But no, because
yeah,
I
you wanna
know
get that
her
cash.
opinion.
This is a professional episode page.
Yes, so you get to know people. Like, so she's explained their family dynamics to me. So then, if mum or dad comes into the room and starts talking a totally different song, and we're sitting there thinking, "Well, she don't say that.
Yeah.
That's not what she said."
Yeah, hell.
And I suppose you wouldn't be able to necessarily give the best version of you because you'd be conflicted if you are hearing two sides of a story. Or, for example, if I came to you with a problem, you know so much about me and about my life and my childhood and where we were talking about this in the car on the way over. It would be hard for you almost to remove that and listen to me completely because you would know so much.
Yes,
so that
absolutely.
would make that difficult.
Absolutely.
Because we were just talking on the way over here about like we won't go into specifics, but obviously Sue's seen my childhood from such a young age, and some of the things she said to me on the way over here was the reason you are this and that is because of I saw this in your childhood and I saw
Yeah.
how this impacted you, and so for you to that would be so difficult, wouldn't it, for you to remove that?
Yeah, and it was all right in what I said.
Yeah, she was.
You know what I've seen a lot of recently, that people have been saying on like TikTok, Instagram, that ChatGPT has been giving them like therapy advice and they're getting their therapy from ChatGPT and they're doing well from it. And I'm like, someone needs to physically tell me what to do.
The only other perspective I personally would never do that.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't.
Personally wouldn't, but just for listeners out there that may do that, another perspective is, does by doing it through an AI or does it take away any potential human bias or human opinion?
Maybe.
Well, the job of a therapist is not to really have that. You have to put your biases to one side,
Yeah.
Right.
Because if
regardless
you've
on
got
your
a
own
bias, then you
personal
probably
views.
wouldn't be a great therapist because then you've got the bias.
You have to, when a client comes into the room and talks to you, their world is their world, and you don't question it. You don't bring any of your stuff into it. You try to see them as they see them.
Right.
Mm.
Um,
So regardless of anything that they bring, really, you have to put your biases to one side.
Do you ever bring your what you know into your relationship? So say if you have an argument with your husband, do you ever like throw out terms and stuff, or like the
Yeah.
language and the jargon?
Yeah.
Does he get
All the
annoyed?
time.
Does he? I get annoyed when it happens to me.
Yes, I would imagine I'd be really annoyed if he did it to me. But
Yeah.
no, I don't. I try not to. If I ever say anything to my husband, I don't come out with loads of technical stuff or anything.
Yeah.
I might just say something, and he'll say stop trying to therapize me or whatever
Yeah.
he says.
Are you like projection, gaslighting?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he could, but I don't do it very often. It's hard to switch off from being a therapist. So if I'm meeting somebody for the first time, I do find myself, and there's no two ways about it, I do find myself like psychoanalyzing them.
Yeah.
Do you?
Oh, absolutely.
How draining though.
What did you think about
Absolutely.
me when you first saw me? or
Okay,
heard
let's
me?
psychoanalyse
I was going to say, what
Paige
did you
right
first
now.
think about G? But you knew her since she was 3, so I guess it's hard.
Well, I don't know enough. I'd need to know. I don't know really. Like when you came in, I was trying to be hidden because
Yeah,
it was
you
your,
were, yeah.
coming
Little birthday
in for your little
surprise,
birthday
yeah.
surprise that George had set up for you. But straight away, like I was stepping back, trying to say you couldn't see me, but you ignored George and came and gave me a hug.
Yeah.
So that does that say about you?
Aw.
You know that you obviously want people to feel comfortable as well. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
wouldn't have come over to me. You'd have.
Well, G's said nothing but good things about you, so if she'd have said she's very stern, she doesn't like a hug. Oh God, I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have been like, oh hi G.
I'm not touchy feely though. I'm not a
No,
touchy feely
you're not?
person.
Oh, bloody hell.
No.
That's
I
Think
want you
you
to
hug straight away.
psychoanalyse me. I don't know if we can leave it in, but we can try.
I guess it's hard because you've known G for 25 years almost.
It's I know your mum.
Yeah, that's hard,
And I know
isn't
your
it?
dad, and I have my own opinion on both of them.
Yes.
And I have to say, your mum is absolutely delightful. She is
Need to
like
meet
my like one of my best friends.
We've been saying for a long time we wanted like a therapist on.
Well, we were saying sex therapist if you want to go into that world.
Well, when
I'm joking. She's
Exactly.
like, G, yeah.
Exactly. So this is where it gets confusing. So if, like, I had an inquiry that said, say if it was a young lad and he said, do you do sex therapy? I need sex therapy. So then I would say, why, would you mind me asking, like, why do you think that you need sex therapy? And if he was to answer me by saying, because I've got a real porn addiction and I'm masturbating all the time.
That word makes me laugh, sorry.
Clever.
Sorry.
I'm not going to use your terminology at all. I'm just going to be very professional. Right?
Having a wank.
A little
Yeah.
tug.
A little tug. I don't
So
like that.
then I'm wanting to know why he's looking at porn all the while and why he's masturbating all the while. Chances are he has not got a sex addiction at all. He might have, but I would say there is a lot that goes on when we masturbate. So there's a lot of stroking involved. All of these things raise your endorphins and your oxytocin levels.
Right.
So if you're incredibly stressed and which is something I want to show you a bit later, which is my anxiety thing. If you're really stressed and you're producing the stress hormone cortisol, and you've got a lot of cortisol in your system, the only way you can combat it is with oxytocin. Oxytocin is the love hormone.
Right.
So some people might, if somebody's coming to me, I'd be saying, so what you need to be doing is you need to be around people who make you feel really loved, really cared for, that sense of belonging, laughter, all of that kind of stuff will raise your oxytocin, but so will having a wank.
You must need a lot of oxytocin.
Are you all right?
Bet you every other 5 minutes.
Are you all right? Are you okay? Sorry, Carl, about this vulgar language on today's show.
Sorry.
So, when you're, if you're...
Is that inappropriate? Sorry.
It's all right, we'll just cut you out. So, if ever you're feeling a bit like, if you picture yourself in a doctor's waiting room, you might be doing this.
My mum does that.
Or this. If you're in a difficult situation,
Self-soothing.
we're self-soothing, we're stroking.
I do this.
And when you stroke, you raise your oxytocin. And there was an experiment done somewhere like Germany, and they created these machines that sort of rub the cows. in the dairy farm, and they produce loads more milk.
Oh.
Because it raises your oxytocin. And the most oxytocin you'll ever receive in your entire life is breastfeeding. That's the biggest dose of oxytocin you'll ever get.
Really? Should we talk about oxytocin and cortisol? Because in case people don't know what it is, and do you want to talk a bit more about that? And I know you've brought some stuff with you as well, haven't you?
Right.
All right. So oxytocin and cortisol, what are they?
So oxytocin is also known as the love hormone, and cortisol is the stress hormone.
Okay.
Cortisol comes from your adrenal gland, so it's got very similar properties to adrenaline. Okay, so this is my take. Again, this is a slightly adapted version. There was a neuroscientist called Panksepp, and he studied mammals, all mammals. He's also known as the rat tickler, which anybody wants to look him up. That's so he experimented on mammals, and rats were one of the main things. And this is how he came out with this theory.
She's vegan.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't experimenting on them in a negative way.
Oh, okay.
He was like he was seeing how they respond to that when they're tickled and when they're not.
Oh, okay.
It's called the rat tickler because rats actually love being tickled.
Imagine your
And the
nickname,
reason
the rat
why-
tickler.
The rat tickler.
The reason why is because we raises our oxytocin levels.
Right.
So this is a diagram to sort of explain his theory. It's somebody's that I stole off somebody a long time ago, and I've just sort of adapted it a wee bit as well. So
Copyright.
we share things, don't we, as therapists? So if you look into these boxes, you can see when we are full of cortisol, we have got things like heart racing, sweating, palpitations. We could be crying, feel scared, confused, disorientated, panic attack, rage. We could go quiet. So I'm going to talk to you really on what happens on a day-to-day basis regarding these two things. So oxytocin, if you just think that's your happy hormone. And so you get that by doing all the happy things. So say if I'm leaving home on a morning on my way to work, so I can come out of my front door, got my tunes on, everything's great with the world, loads of time, I'm off, I'm walking to work. So I'm in my little happy bubble, I've got my oxytocin going on here. As I walk up the road, I suddenly think, did I lock the front door? And that did I lock the front door creates a bit of fear. Only a little bit of fear, but it's fear. And it's not enough fear to make me stop, but it's enough fear to make me go, did I?
Yeah.
And then I go, no, I know I locked the front door because I can remember seeing that great big bloody cobweb and thinking I need to get rid of that when I get out. Yes,
Like when you
I've
feel
locked
like
the
you've left
front.
the hair straighteners on or the iron on.
All the time.
You're stealing my next bit.
Yeah, Paige.
So,
We'll take that
So
out.
then my oxytocin, no, you can leave it in 'cause it's funny. So then my, I keep doing the opposite way here. So then my oxytocin will be restored. So I've gone down here when I thought, did I lock the front door? I did. I've gone back up here now, happy.
Right.
Then a few more steps on, did I turn the air straighteners off? Bit of fear, because did I turn the air straighteners off? I then produce some cortisol, then go, oh, no, I know I did because I've even put them in the bloody cupboard. So, yeah, okay, and I'm back up to here. So this will continue, and we do this all day long. All of us do this all day long with silly little things that we don't even know. The word fear makes people go, no, I ain't scared of stuff, I'm not frightened. No. And it's not that. It's just that little bit of fear that something might be wrong or something could happen. Fear governs everything, basically, in a nutshell. I'm walking up the road a little bit further, and all of a sudden, this car just comes out of nowhere and it's suddenly mounting the pavement. This is when cortisol does its job. So cortisol, before my brain is saying to me, oh my God, there's a car coming at me, that has gone into my system and I've moved. So cortisol saves our life. So it's your fight, flight, freeze responder.
Yeah.
So we'll keep it at those three for now, fight, flight, freeze. And that's what makes us move. So that was me jumping out the way of the car. So my cortisol saved my life. So cortisol is the good guy as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But in 2025, we ain't cavemen no more. When we were cavemen, this system worked absolutely fantastically well because Mr. Caveman, all he got to worry about was being attacked by somebody from the other tribe or the fire going out, getting food. That was his fear.
Yeah.
And when he was scared and when something did, it kicked him into doing something like fight or flight. So when we produce all this cortisol in our system, we sit with it. We don't do nothing. You sit behind your desk. You carry on doing your job that you do. We don't use... So our bodies now are exactly the same as Mr. Caveman, but we're in 2025, where there is threat and fear everywhere.
So it's kind of like you're living with cortisol in your body all the time, like an excess of it.
Yeah.
Because we're not getting rid of it because we're not fighting or we're not flighting. We're kind of sitting at our desk, or the real threats aren't really there like there were
We've got no
2,000 years
output.
ago.
They're perceived threats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not life endangering threats, but our body doesn't know the difference. So we have what they call false activations. So our false activations of cortisol are the things that send us into a panic attack or send us with a heart racing and anxiety building, because we are responding the way a caveman would have responded. So our bodies are being our bodies, if this is going on for you, your body's doing exactly what it should be doing. So there's nothing wrong with you at all. It's just knowing that this is what is happening and how to stop these false activations.
That's that's so helpful to understand.
I know, yeah.
Like that's so, because like now I'm thinking, if I suddenly get that panic, like sometimes if I'm at work and I've done something wrong, I'm like, I can like, oh, that's just my cortisol.
That's your cortisol.
Just chill.
So it's not always a bad thing,
No.
the cortisol,
No. Now, you saying that about at work, it's like, what is the worst thing that could happen at work, realistically? You're not in danger.
Yeah.
You haven't got to protect yourself. It's not life-threatening. Yes, you might have forgot to phone somebody back, or you've sent somebody off on the wrong job or whatever. That is not going to kill you.
Yeah.
But our body is responding to it in the same way that it would have done years ago.
I feel like at the moment that people's attitude towards therapy is almost negative.
Well, it's for the weak.
It's for people that are struggling. It's for people that are victims. I think therapy should be, like we just said, every single person on this that walks this planet should do a form of therapy, because our mind and our brain is so important to look after. And it's only really in my opinion, this is not a fact, but I feel like it's only really the last sort of 6 to 7 years that people have started to really talk about mental health and bring mental health to the forefront and create it as a positive thing rather than a negative thing.
Like most workplaces have HR, don't they? But imagine if every workplace had a therapist or a counsellor on site. Imagine like what that would do.
To be able to go and have those conversations. But that brings me to, this is my opinion, I don't think therapy at the moment is accessible for the everyday person. Because the biggest thing for me, I've stopped having therapy for a little while, is literally financially.
Yes.
Because it's so expensive.
It is very expensive.
And I know there's two sides to that coin. You have to make a living. You have to.
And you can only see so many clients a week.
And you can, exactly. Also, you know, if you are, let's use an example, if you are a single mom, your wages are spent on paying rent or mortgage and food and electricity and water and doing your children's extracurriculum activities and putting petrol in the car. As a mother, you're going to put all that money to that because that's what is right for your child, but that leaves nothing for you.
Yeah, you take a back seat on your own mental health or
And I think the government should really look at funding to fund people like yourself that would be able to maybe bring your prices down because you're getting financial flow from government funding as well.
Yes and no, because obviously you can only see so many clients a week.
It's
a very, very difficult and very complex and very long debate that you could have. I mean, such as what you've just said there, Paige. That sounds great when you say it very quickly, but like I said to you earlier, you can't see people who know people. So if you're in a workplace, it's a very hard job for a counsellor who knows that those 6 work in an office together and you're seeing them all, because they're all obviously talking about each other. And as a counsellor, it's very hard for you then to be able to box that off and think, well, she said that about you and well, you said that. You know, it is really difficult. It would be better if companies funded. There's very, I mean, I do say to people, sometimes people go, I can't come because I've got work. I'm in work till that time. And I say, well, are you happy to tell work that you're coming to therapy? Because there ain't many employers now that won't let people have time off work to go to therapy.
Really? I didn't know that.
Well, it's not a thing, but you've put yourself in the eyes of an employer.
Yeah.
And your employee comes to you and said, look, I'm not asking for you to pay for my therapy, but I do need therapy. But the only time that they can see me is here, so it means I'm going to have to leave work early on a Wednesday. Would that be okay? They can say no to you. They can.
But they shouldn't.
But you think about it,
like a
they're
dentist appointment or a doctor's appointment, then they'd be like, yeah, of course.
And I think most of them know now that you're skating on thin ice as well if you were to refuse somebody access to mental health services. It is really difficult. I mean, obviously, the whole NHS debate is a big one as well. And I suppose I might be speaking out of turn when I say this, I don't know. But to me, it's just, I think it's a bit of a waste of time.
What's a waste of time specifically?
They put you on a waiting list, which you're potentially on for 3 years. That's the first biggest waste of time, gives people false hope. So then that just reiterates that there's no hope. You know, when they're not getting the treatment that they need, it makes them feel even lower. And well, this just confirms for me what I already thought, that nobody wants to help me. They're just not interested in me. So there's that part of it, and also the fact that when you do go through to it, you're limited to this It's on the phone, not even a video call, it's on the phone.
Yeah.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's about 30 or 40 minutes. And most of the time that's a scaling chart from how you've improved from last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
All they want to do is CBT. Now, CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, for those people who aren't sure, it's a little bit in my line of work, and sorry, CBT therapists, because I know that you do a great job. But in my line of work, I think it's sticky plaster stuff. I don't work like that. For me, I go right back to childhood. I go right back to basics. I want to know everything that creates you, because that's where we need to work. We need to find out what makes you the way you are, where all your thoughts come from, your beliefs, your opinions, your structure, your mind map for life, who made it, who inputted on it, who are they to you. Everything comes into it. CBT is like, well, what's the problem now? And it's like, what can we do to overcome? So they'll give you good tools. They'll use, different things like what I've just shown you there. They'll give you tools, but your tools will only last for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And then they'll stop being effective. And eventually the issue, the deep-rooted issue, is still there.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you said, but I've never said that out loud.
And that might be controversial.
I do think
It is a
would
bit
be.
controversial.
People might disagree, but this is a safe space podcast. And if you don't agree with that, fine. Let's just keep the space positive.
Well, do you know what? If there's somebody who disagrees with that, we can only presume that they're disagreeing because they have had a different experience.
Yeah.
And if they've had a different experience, then absolutely fantastic and well done for them. And, that's, it clearly works with some people. But in my experience, I tend to have a lot of people who have either given up because they've been on the waiting list for so long, or they've had it and it's just not been successful.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did.
I feel like mental health now is being taken more seriously.
Yeah, I agree.
But I still feel like it's a subject where people are like, oh, they're playing the mental health card, because some people are very against all this mental health wokeness and stuff.
It's
but
like
it
the
is
old
so
bad back.
important. Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
People would say, oh, I got a bad back. And you'd be like, yeah, but have you though? You just want some time off work. Because you can't see it. Somebody's got their arm in plaster. Oh my God, someone's on crutches. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But if I've got, if I'm in a depressive state right now or whatever, nobody can see that.
Yeah.
Same as nobody can see a bad back. So it's the same sort of thing.
Can you help us understand what happens physically with like anxiety? Because you said that you...
Yeah, I would love to. So
Yeah.
So this is my non-binary human, and just to explain, when we have too much cortisol in our system, so going back to the previous diagram that I showed you, if we don't get rid of it, so if we don't do what Mr. Caveman did and we don't burn it off, we will just get bogged down with it, and eventually, so think of it as a bucket. Might be worth mentioning at this point as well, we are all born with levels of cortisol. When stressful situations happen, again, we all respond to them differently, which then is more to do with your upbringing and stuff, which is what we work on in therapy. But then your bucket will eventually fill, and you can only have like the slight, when people say, oh my God, I don't even know what just happened and why that's just had that effect on me. It's not what just happened to you. It's the fact that your bucket was already full, and the fact that the car's just run out of petrol and it's tipped you over the edge. Yeah. It's a silly little thing, but it's because your bucket's full.
Yeah.
So when your bucket's full, you go into fight, flight, freeze, flop and fawn. So those are the 5 that are out now. So you fight, obvious. Flight, pretty obvious, to run away from the situation. Freeze is when you just like, I don't know what to do. Flop is when we just give in to the situation.
Trigger warning, guys. Next conversation might have...
Do you want me to change the word, Novit?
No.
Think of something else.
Sexual assault.
Sexual assault. Yeah, go again.
So somebody who has suffered any kind of sexual assault, they may go into flop. Which is some people's response to that, and then they obviously have guilt from that because they don't understand why they didn't fight back. But that's the way that their body has responded to it. It's, it's just their body. And then you've got fawn, which is a bit of the Eeyore state. Eeyore, picture Eeyore in Winnie the Pooh. He's a little bit, feels a bit sorry for himself. He's a bit down and he's just a bit non-responsive, but don't really know how to get out of it. So when we go into one of these, really, on this diagram, really I've used like fight, flight is the main one on this. But what happens is our body is designed to fight or to flight. So what it'll do when we get tipped over the edge, it will react and our body will do certain things, physical responses. So this is quite a list on here. So I will try and run through them quite quickly because of the time element. But our body's getting ready. So blood gets diverted towards all the major muscle groups to prepare them for action. Your shoulders, your upper arms, your thighs, because it's getting ready to punch somebody or it's getting ready to run. So this causes your blood pressure to increase. Your digestive system shuts down. You don't need to digest that sandwich you had at lunchtime if you're in no immortal danger. People go, oh my God, I need the toilet. Oh my God, my stomach's just gone. So either feel sick or other end. And that is because the blood gets diverted away from your digestive system, and that's a response from there. We start to sweat. So clammy hands.
Yeah.
You're starting to sweat because your body's trying to cool yourself down ready for this flight.
God, it makes so much sense.
I know, I literally am reading
I'm
that
like,
and just,
you're talking and I'm like
it does
obsessed.
make so much sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we start to breathe more quickly and shallowly, which can cause hyperventilation as our heartbeat increases. So it starts beating a lot quicker. This can make us feel like we've got chest pains, and a lot of people believe they're having a heart attack. So the mouth goes dry and the throat can feel constricted. So some people feel like, oh my God,
My sister had that.
I can't breathe, and they start to panic, and it causes it to go more because
That's
it's
what my
just
sister had. She kept feeling like she couldn't swallow. So then she'd start panicking that she couldn't swallow, and then swallowing would get even harder and harder, and then she'd have a full-blown panic attack. But it kept happening in regular intervals
and
for
that's
her.
her body. That's her body responding to
So it's
this.
so
So had she have known this, she may have been able to have stopped that before it
Yeah.
got to the other stage. The pupils. This is another one. People think that I've had a lot of people say to me, "Oh my God, I thought I was losing my sight. I thought something was happening to me." We lose our peripheral vision, so our pupils dilate, and we literally will focus. We go like tunnel vision. So we're focusing. If you're running, you don't need to see like what you're running past. You need to see where you're running to, because that's your where you've got to go to.
Yeah.
This is all anxiety. This is what happens during anxiety.
This is what happens
panic attack.
really when you go into a panic attack. But you can have any of these symptoms when you're on that sort of, when you're on that edge, when it's activated, but you're not quite in a full-blown panic attack.
So I don't know whether you've seen the clip, but I was talking about a panic attack recently, and it went viral because it's quite a funny story. Because I said, I was having a panic attack, and then all of a sudden I did the biggest shit of my life, and then these two started creasing, and I was like, no, like, is it linked? But here it says blood is diverted away from the digestive system, causing the digestive system to relax, resulting in the feeling of needing to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
So it was related.
Yeah.
How bizarre.
Every time I've passed out,
I wasn't laughing. PSA. We weren't laughing at the fact that you'd gone to the toilet. The way she said it went, I just had a big shit. And it was very comical. And you'd also said that she'd had a vape to celebrate not vaping, and that set me off. So I wasn't laughing at the fact that you're having a panic attack.
But no, it is very typical for that to happen. So the blood rushes from our extremities, so causing our hands and feet to feel cold, but they'll also be clammy because of the sweating. And your legs may start trembling and feel weak as the blood flow is increasing. Now, these are the last two. We feel like we might pass out when we're having a panic attack, but the increased oxygen and the decreased CO2 can result in dizziness or lightheadedness, which makes us feel like we might faint. However, and there might be some doctors out there that tell me now I'm talking rubbish, but it's incredibly unlikely, as fainting is due to a drastic drop in blood pressure, and the fight, flight, freeze reacts by increasing our blood pressure and heart rate. So a lot of people think they're going to pass out, but they're not. It's just the way it makes us feel.
It's just the extra oxygen in your body. It makes you feel lightheaded.
Yeah. And the biggest fuck up of all of this is that our brain is now in a loop, and it can't get out of it, and it's trying to find out how it got out of it the last time this happened to it. So what it does is it scans our memory bank now for, well, what did I do the last time this happened to me? How did I manage to get out of this panic attack? How did I stop these things from happening? So then it remembers all of the times you've had a panic attack before, which then brings all those memories back again, and you're even more in a... So it is very, very scary. And all I can say, like the bottom line on that is, over time, the brain's ability to slow or cancel these false activations becomes harder for us to do. We've sort of programmed ourselves to become more vulnerable to it, more susceptible to it. So it's about having to keep reminding ourselves that, no, I am fine, I am safe, there's nothing, I'm not in any danger, I'm not going to die, because actually this is what the fight, flight, freeze responder is for.
Yeah.
And that everything is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it's good for people to understand that physically, this all happens in the body, because then it kind of helps you realise, okay, this is normal for me feeling anxious or feeling like
and a big round of applause to your body.
For working.
Because it's working exactly how nature intended it to work.
Knowledge is power, isn't it? I think when you understand something, you can comprehend something, which means you can process something.
Yeah.
So if people listening to this today and you've experienced panic attacks, or you've experienced periods of anxiety, and you do get these symptoms that Sue's just so fantastically explained, having the knowledge and understanding that that's a positive thing, and the fact that your body is reacting the way it should do, that gives you almost control
Well, it's
and
it's
power.
empowering, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're wonderful. You're brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, really, you should celebrate the fact that your body is doing what it should do.
If you're
Imagine.
just about to have a panic attack, celebrate.
Yeah, just
it.
say that's
Get your
great.
hat on.
Yes, my body's working.
Get your party hat on.
Well, hopefully, knowing this stuff as well just helps to reduce the likelihood of it. And then you can just celebrate yourself that you haven't got to the stage of the panic attack, because now you're understanding cortisol and oxytocin more.
Yep.
You're able to reduce your cortisol and raise your oxytocin.
I remember thinking in the panic attack, what is going on? Like, what is happening to my body? Whereas if I knew all of these and knew what my body was meant to be doing, then I'd probably be going, okay, this is happening because of this. Or I feel like I can't breathe because,
Absolutely.
reduced oxygen, blah, blah, blah. And then I might have not had one or
Yeah.
had as big of a one.
Or felt more not, it's
More
probably
in
the wrong
control.
word, but yeah, more in control through the process.
Yeah.
And then when it's happened, you can reflect, and rather than you have this sense of confusion, which you did have, and this sense of like, why did that happen? How did this happen? Was it so bad? Why was it so scary?
Yeah.
When you've calmed down and that cortisol's gone through your body and you're back to normal levels of oxytocin, you can sit there and go, I understand why that's happened, and you've taken the control out of the situation. You've held that onto that situation.
I've had clients before when I've taught them through this stuff and they just go, why the hell aren't doctors giving us this information? Why is it that when we go to the GP, they just want to give us a prescription for antidepressants?
That's the thing. They just put a plaster on it with
Yeah.
medication, and
Yeah.
I find
Sticky
that
plaster
which
syndrome.
just
bizarre.
Which
Yeah.
just stops you feeling anything at all.
Yeah.
well,
It
yeah.
makes you feel numb.
Yeah.
It
Who-
does.
Who wants to feel like that? We don't want
Yeah.
to be a zombie.
No.
We want to be a full functioning human being who can cope with what life's throwing at us. I think we have a bad back. You go to your doctor. Well, actually, maybe we need to be thinking that, go to your doctor, but maybe we need to be looking at other things that we can access.
Yeah.
And alternative therapies as well, rather than popping pills all the while. Maybe there are some herbal remedies that might help. And
I'm all about herbal
I'm
remedies.
huge. I religiously take ashwagandha every day.
that sounds really wrong. I don't know what it is, but it don't sound good.
It's like a plant extract, isn't it?
I think it's part of like the mushroom family.
Yeah, and it's just, I take it every day, and I'm just so much, it's natural, it's herbal.
It's like an adaptogenic
Yes.
mushroom thing.
Absolutely. And whether it's a placebo or not, it works either way. And I do feel, I have it every morning with my glass of water, and I just feel more relaxed. I
Yeah.
feel more chilled out. I'm conscious of time.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be strictly PG without a bit of fun, would it? And controversial questions.
Oh, to be fair, you've blended in quite well.
Very
to the
well,
funness.
yeah.
I'm loving it.
This is great.
I just want to
you're
know if
dying
there's
to
any
ask.
like funny stories from. I know you can't talk about names and stuff, but like, is there anything that's happened to you during a session that you've gone, whoa?
We laugh all the time, but I can't think of any ice. I'm not like a paramedic who can tell you how did I get this Hoover part stuck up my bum by accident story. Sorry.
Hoover part.
I ain't got none of them.
Yeah.
I was just trying to suck out the shit.
Yeah.
Back to
No,
skinny.
I don't think there's any. I mean, we do. I think one of the people who has given me a review has said, although there's tears, there is also a lot of laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do laugh a lot in the room, but I don't think I've got any particularly funny stories as such.
Have you ever had to turn a client down?
No. Well, again, because I always talk to somebody on the phone before. There's never.
You never get
I'm
to that
never in
point.
that position. No. So.
Yeah. Do you work from home or do you have a specific?
No, I've got
room?
I've got a lovely room in Stourbridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once
so
you
no.
leave there, do you leave everything there?
Everything. I don't take my clients home, and I don't. I make no
Well,
qualms
should hope
about
not,
that.
to be honest.
In more ways than one.
That's concern. So,
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes if I'm just sort of like out walking, or if I'm just washing up, and I might be something that a client said that I'm like thinking, what's the best way to tackle that? I might just be reflecting on a session, thinking how's the best way for me to do something, but not. And I never worry about my clients. They know that I don't. It's not my job
Just
to
laugh. I never worry about
No,
that.
I
Don't
never
give a
worry
flying
about them.
fuck.
No, I don't. We work together, and the thing. I mean, I suppose I am very lucky in a way, because people who come to therapy and have made that conscious decision that they are coming to me privately for therapy, it's highly unlikely that they are suicidal. Suicidal people aren't at that point where they're reaching out for help.
Yeah.
In such a positive way. So complicated. But all I say to people is like, you know, next week, same time, and all. Make sure, and as long as they say yes, that to me is like, you're coming back next week.
Yeah.
There's no worries as such. Sometimes I try to like really want to help people, so then I might be like thinking, oh, I can do it, but no. I'll tell you a little story on empathy. So when I was first at college, the first session, and I would have a much better argument now than on my first day, we had a discussion about empathy and whether you could be a therapist if you have not got empathy. Now, I have not got natural empathy. I'm not an emotional person. I'm a very cognitive person. So I don't think I've got empathy. I have to try and imagine what it's like for a person in their world and try and imagine what that feels like for them, to have that empathy. I find empathy really difficult to try and understand, to be fair. But I think that makes me a much better counsellor because I don't take my clients' work home with me. I don't be thinking about like worrying about them and concerned about them because I'm just being cognitive. What can I do to help them? How can I move them forward? What can I do to encourage them to do this? How can I get them to be the person they want to be? So I'm a very cognitive person, not emotional. It takes a lot to get an emotional response from me. So should you cry in a session with a client? Personally, I don't think that crying with your client is a bad thing. It's certainly not something I'd do. I have become a little bit damp-eyed once, and I was like, what the fuck are these things in my eyes? Because I was like, oh my God, I just don't cry. I'm not a crier. I'm a very ugly crier, and I feel shit for about 2 days after. However, I encourage everybody else to let it out. I struggle to do it myself.
I don't know how I'd feel if I was, you know, describing something that happened to me and then the therapist started crying with me. I'd be a bit like...
I think I'd be like, you're supposed to help me, yeah?
What are you doing?
I'm panicking now.
This is the problem, isn't it? This is the problem. So I think a rogue tear or a bit of a damp eye is okay, but for a therapist to get so into it with you that they're crying as well, is that healthy? Is that too? I don't know. Debate that one really, but
you've got to find the balance right of, you don't want to see someone who's completely like got their life together or portraying that they've fully got their life together because they're not relatable in that sense, I guess. I would find like a happy medium.
It all comes down to, like you touched on brilliantly earlier, is not every therapist is for everyone.
No, absolutely not.
So there's going to be therapists out there that maybe watch this and go, well, I cry with my clients. That's okay, because your clients probably really
know
like that.
And when you've done your little bit of a brief to start with, they know
that's how you are. Whereas you're saying, I'm not an emotional person as such. I'm here to, cognitive. I'm here to, very matter of fact, I'm a practical, logical based person.
Yeah.
So clients that are going to come to you want that from you.
I think all my clients would say that I have told them on that initial phone call, if you want somebody to sit there stroking your arm for an hour, that is not me. That is not my style at all. I'm more like, right, what's going on? Right, okay, where did this originate? Let's have a good dig deep. Let's find out what's going on and what we're going to do about it, how we're going to sort it out. That is more my style, and we are all very different. As soon as people come into my therapy room, rules for the room, go through that very quickly. There ain't many because I've done like my contract and stuff with them prior, which... Again, it's the main thing is about confidentiality, and then I'll say to them, it's important that you are you in this room. You talk to me like you talk in real. If you swear, great, because so do I. We swear together. This is your space, and you have to feel comfortable. Not everybody might not want that. They might want something like the counsellor leads it more, or that they lead. But I work at a team. But this is all explained in the beginning. I tell people that I work in childhood. So if somebody goes, well, I don't want to do that, well, then I would say, well, unfortunately, like that, I wouldn't be able to not do that because that's the way that I work. It's how I work, and I wouldn't be able to say that we'll have successful outcomes if you're asking me to work in a way in which I'm not comfortable working, so it wouldn't be conducive.
Completely agree. And I think just because we're on a bit of a time scale today, unfortunately so. Where can people find you, Sue?
Yeah.
Me?
How can people...
If someone Googled your name,
do
you want them to do it that way?
You mentioned psychology today. Should we link your psychology today? Should we put that in the description notes? We'll
do
that.
So my practice, I mean, I have to say at the moment, I am absolutely full at the moment. So I'm on waiting lists at the moment. But my name is Serenity Counselling. My full name is Suzanne Tibbets, so that's on Facebook. I'm Suzanne Tibbets Serenity Counselling. So I'd recommend anybody follow me on there. I'd like that. Every day I put something on, something and some sort of little meaningful extract. And I advertise on Psychology Today. Website is counsellingstourbridge.com, and I think that's it really.
We'll link it all.
Amazing. Yeah,
can
we'll
link
link
it
it.
all.
Well,
yeah.
hopefully,
the royal
guys.
way.
Paige will link it all.
Gosh, that's gone very fast, hasn't
I know.
it?
So hopefully, guys, this has been something that you've taken something away from, whether you've learned something new about our body responses, or you've this is the first thing you've ever heard about therapy and it's an introduction, then great. I hope that you guys have listened to this and you've taken something positive from it. I want to say thank you as well, so much so, for coming on.
I've loved it. That's flew by.
Every minute of it. It's been
More than
been
welcome.
incredible.
I just hope that some, if only one person out there finds that has just helped them.
Yeah.
And I personally, I think there's going to be a lot. So for me, that's job done. That's more than happy with that. And if I know you ask people to put comments and stuff, but if anybody, if you get if I'm so amazing that you want me back,
Don't get too comfortable.
If
you want Strictly PJ.
Actually, if you want it to become the PNS.
Strictly PS.
I'll just fuck off then.
Well, I am sort of there. Look, I'm at the start, really.
yeah.
S and my PJ.
There we go.
So, but no, if people did want me to come on and like to talk through any other sort of tools that I've got that I could share with people, then obviously that's something I would.
How about if you've got any questions, we'll put let's have this as a clip. So if you've got any questions that you want to ask Sue, we'll keep it relatively short and concise, put it into the box, and we will send them over to Sue, and maybe when you get 5 minutes, you could help us respond back.
Yeah, or we could get you back on once we've
Get you back
collated
on.
loads of questions.
Yeah. We could do a bit of a Q&A maybe. That would be great, wouldn't it?
Well, that would possibly be a really good thing to do, actually.
Let's do that. Send in your Strictly situations, send in your dilemmas, advice. If you're struggling at the moment with anxiety, panic attacks, depression, you're just feeling a little bit overwhelmed, you're feeling a bit stuck, whatever it may be, if you feel comfortable enough to share, send it in.
Strictly situations.
Strictly situations. Sue's Strictly situations.
I wasn't listening to a word you were saying because I was trying to think.
You do this all the time.
I know, because I was trying to think of a verb. Right, end it there.
Embarrassing. Thank you so much, guys. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you for having
Love
me.
you. Bye.
Bye. And you need to put a bit of stuff on your face because you've gone very shiny. Sorry, I'm just being a nice person.
Why don't you do this to me?